Hello, hello, and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni, and this is Danny. And for the week of September 26th through October 1st, the sun is in gate 18 and the earth in gate 17.
Oh, good. My favorite.
Yay! So thank you to everyone who is watching and liking, subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us. We love having you, and let's get into it. So here we have our body graph view with the mandala wheel. We can see the sun is in gate 18, which is correction, and this is a spleen gate. And then the earth on the flip side is in gate 17, which is opinions, and it is an Ajna gate.
I find it interesting that this section of the wheel where 18 is, obviously we run through all the spleen gates, but that the run starts at 18. I just noticed that now, and you know, thinking about it, and I just find that interesting that the wheel arranges itself so intelligently, such that 18. I would have thought 57 would have been the first.
Because penetration.
Yes, but no, something even more logical and practical. So apparently, mating is a logical process.
Who knew?
Who knew? Hey, excuse me, darling. Logically speaking,
I guess like the first thing you'd have to notice is like, what is wrong with this potential relationship? Like, if you're going to be in a relationship, like, what could be not correct that needs to be corrected?
Bravo! Yes, precisely what you just said.
Thanks.
That's a good catch.
Right? You can see with my green cursor, we have gate 18. This is where the sun is at. And so for the next like few weeks, we're actually going to be hitting up all the splenic gates over here. So I'm circling through it. So it's 18, 48, 57, 32, 50, 28, 44. So this whole section of the wheel, we're going through all the spleen gates. Yeah. And what's interesting, so it's also, this is the quarter of duality, which has to do about relationships. So duality, two people, relationships is how I kind of remember that one. And it's kind of interesting that as we're in this relationship connecting time, it's like, hey, let's make sure that spleen is on. So is this a good person? Are they healthy for me? Like, is this a good continuation?
It's also a time of this duality of our own selves. This is a time, every year I always recognize around this time, around this season, and in this quarter is a time where I notice that I am also with myself. There's that duality, and that relationship has to be logical as well, right? And it has to be seen for what it is. No ignoring it. Ignore to your own detriment, right? So self-reflection has always become of this time of year for me that I notice. And then again around my birthday, but here for sure.
Yeah, so what I've always noticed is like, as soon as we hit, so I'll do my little cursor here, as soon as we hit like the summer solstice over here with like gate 15, and 15 is like extremes, I feel like the summer just kicks off and it's just like going, and you're doing this and you're traveling and you're camping and you're visiting and there's all these things and there's parties and get it in while the summer is still the summer. Like, I just feel like this huge rush where by the end of it, like, I love summer, but I'm ready for you to end. And I always feel it's like we hit fall, which we just did with the fall equinox here with gate 46, which I'm circling with the cursor. We hit fall and there is this like return to self, and I just want to read a book and drink some apple cider and hang out in the forest. So it's interesting that you also mentioned a kind of similar feeling.
Yeah, I can see that. I can
like
see
school starts. I want to read a book. I want to study.
Right. Well, I can see you having those thoughts and stuff, given where you were for the past week.
Very busy. The other fun thing that I was thinking about, so right here, we're in gate 18, and then we go into 48, which is kind of fun because that is a continuation of that channel of that 58-18 into the 48. So I thought that was kind of neat too, that the wheel.
When you read these channels up, they're arranged in such a way that makes sense as it relates to finishing the business of duality. That was why I was amazed at the starting of 18. Got to correct it, got to make it deep, got to become aware right now that was a good idea, got to preserve it, got to concretize it into the law. It fits the purpose. Now we know we're onto something. And then suddenly the conservative nature of the extension of 44 says basically we come to meet. We've come, and not just we come to meet, we've come to meet. And so we have met. And where do we go from there? We move into our creative, into the yang of the creative. The whole movement. And I loved how you were tracking that. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for going through that and keynoting it with our powers combined. And so what's also fun too is when we get to the end of this quarter, we'll do all our relationship and bonding here. When we go back into one, then we're going to go into the masculine, the yang leading side of the mandala.
Very yangy, the whole thing. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right. I got
all
everything
of
to
it.
say. I got all the work to do. I got all the power to do it with.
So this will be
Nuh-uh.
this will be the last little chunk of our time. We've been in the feminine side of the wheel since gate 2, which is in like May. So we've been in this feminine chunk of the wheel. So we're going to have our last little bit.
Wow. I guess I can see that. I always thought they more alternated.
It's with the foundation. So if you look at the foundation of the trigram, so over here you have it where it starts with like the full feminine.
You're
Whereas
right.
here, the one.
You're
so the
right.
one is the foundation here for that end of fall through.
Moni,
Yeah.
you showed me something I never noticed before. It is exactly what you just said. I just never noticed it before.
Mm-hmm.
Starting at 2, it's all yin all the way through to 1. I just never quite noticed that before. And you are right. It is the yin. Wow, we are the yin to the yang. Because every time I look at 13, I think more yin. I just think more yin with 13 itself.
13 would be more yin than the one, because the one is all yang, whereas the 13 is like yang, yin, and up.
But the act of being 13 feels more like mother. Whenever I say yin, I put the word mother with it. That might not always be perfect, but that's how I do it. And 13, the family truth is contained in 13. And the family truth, mom will state the family truth, in my opinion,
Here we have the sun in gate 18, work on what has been spoiled in the gate of correction. The vigilance and determination to uphold and defend basic and fundamental human rights. Gate 18 is a splenic gate and it's part of collective circuitry. So sharing is our keynote and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 18 links up with gate 58, which is the gate of vitality, and the 58-18 make up the channel of judgment. Gate 18 is about discovering, naming, and challenging what needs correcting, with a deep concern for human rights and keeping society healthy and in harmony with itself. It has a gift for critical awareness, directing to the source of weakness or imperfection, and focusing on ways to correct, modify, or replace. Gate 18 cleans out what isn't healthy, restoring vitality to something corrupted.
And that something corrupted sometimes is a good thing because gate 50, 4th line is about corruption. But back onto the main point is the fact that you can tell a healthy gate 18 by its gift of seeing what is in line and as a concern for humanity. This is a collective gate. It is about the outside realm, basically humanity and that which will be shared because it's logical, essentially. We're in the logical understanding circuit. And all things humanity oriented are what's to be understood. So you can always tell a healthy gate 18, it waffles between its self-concern and wanting to point that judgment directly at another versus that judgment in general. And its energy being brought in to dialogue and interaction with another. Two different things. One is you bring it in and the other is you point it at, and it's a finessed difference. And that's how, because gate 18, fixing what has been spoiled, it's the giant corrector. Every single line in gate 18, when you go read all 6 lines at the back of the book, the exaltations and the detriments, it's every bit of it is correcting something, and it's identifying what should be corrected, and it's answering the call that comes from 58 out of the out of the root center, giving the stress and the pressure to do just that. It is totally motorized. This gate receives the motorized energy that the rest of the circuitry is starved for. It's all spent here. All the other circuitry has 2 motors in it running it has all 3 motors in it running it essentially somewhere, but not this. That's why ideas get the emotional motor as well as the root motor. But this, that gets the root motor and then the spleen. So one is inherently more energy than the other. It's just an aside. Other things about gate 18 is that you can count on gate 18 to sort of notice what isn't right. It's got a sense, and it's a splenic type of intuition but it's not intuition of just sterile intuition itself. It's got a particular judgment about it. It's basically saying, gate 18 is saying, according to my taste, judgment, taste, it's this way. And the things that don't fit it become that which must be corrected. It can be challenging. The 18, and as you'll see with the 17, you put these two together, it's the cross of service. And the next thing you know, this thing can get opinionated. Now, when it's overly opinionated about things, that's an energy that's hard for others because the opinions point at the other, as opposed to having strong opinions. Again, you see, you bring your strong opinions in with you. That's one thing. But then to suddenly get fully opinionated is now to put down the other. And this is a powerful energy that corrects. The very last line of it, line 6, is it's the Buddha, and it gets away with everything.
18.6 is the Buddha. It's Buddhahood, which is a very funny word, I think.
Yep.
And then gate 17, line 6 is the Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva, yeah. So every line in gate 18, when you read them through, is about correcting and fixing what has been spoiled. And it's not just to challenge what has been spoiled. It's not just the great gate of challenging, which it is. It's looking at it and seeing that it's doesn't need challenge. It doesn't just want to challenge. It hopes to make sure it doesn't need challenge right now, meaning it's still good. So it's fixing what has been spoiled is by the very activity of kicking it to see that it's still good, basically. Oh no, it's still good. Oh no, it's not. Fix what has been spoiled. Oh no, it's fine. Oh, it's fine. No, it's fine. Oh, it's not. Fix what has been spoiled. And it's a driving energy because it's got the root underneath it. When it's a whole channel, it's a driving. This is an energized channel. In fact, this channel creates a manifestor. If you then have 48 and 16, that's a manifestor if there is no sacral defined in the body graph. So 18 fixes what has been spoiled. Some people call it bitchy. I call it observant. I call it having its own flair for its own taste of things. And I call it, you better align with that person or it's going to be hard to get along. And they're easy to align with as long as you let the 18 have its judgment as it relates to seeing it generally and sort of coaxing them to not point it at me directly. I've had to help correct people without ever mentioning anything about human design. Just saying, hey, that's actually potent stuff. I'll say to an 18. Is that pointed at me? I'll ask him straight, just accidentally in response. Is that pointed at me? And so you can see the great effort they go through to remember what's true. No, this is just generally, out there in the world. So that's 18 at its best. Pointed at someone, 18 at its, hardest, most difficult.
Yeah, that leads right into what I wanted to say, which is with gate 18, it's this like gate of judgment. And then like Danny's saying, it's correcting of things. But remember, the channel is linked up with gate 58, which is about joy, right? And then like vitality. And so kind of maybe reframing where you're pointing that gate 18. Is this from a place of creating more joy and vitality? Or is it pointing at yourself or, judging yourself and being unkind to yourself or judging another person in an unkind kind of way? Like there's a place for judgment and correction and kind of playing with angling that in the most beneficial place, maybe.
Absolutely. And if you're the person who's not the 18 in the interaction, to recognize if it is in the whole channel, that it's actually not mad at anything. It's not at you. It starts with joy. I can fix it. Is really the joy that's there. I see the pattern that fixes this. And it's a joyous vitality that the real joy, that the most extreme joy felt by humanity is when we regulate a pattern that moves perfectly and is there to the service of everyone. It's huge joy for us when we make something work and fix a spoiling and keep it running smooth. There's joy in making that motor run clean and hum. And that's what gate 18, it loves that. That's what it's after. So in that very first second, if you're with a gate 18, just recognize the very first burst of energy that you suddenly might start to wonder that you don't feel like hearing it. It's coming from joy. So you just put that in your mind and recognize it's coming from actual kid-like joy. In fact, that's the name of line 158 is simply joy. So that's all I have to say about 18. I sort of went all over the place, but logical understanding to find a pattern that is worth correcting, that aids and fixes the depth of humanity. It leads to depth. So that's what its real purpose is. Big, deep, deep, deep well like depth in gate 48. Yes, it does.
Perfect
So
cherry on top. Here we have the earth in gate 17, which is following, and the gate of opinions, the ancient law that those who wish to rule must know how to serve. Gate 17 is an Ajna gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 17 hooks up with gate 62, which is the gate of details, and the 1762 make up the channel of acceptance. Gate 17 looks for a trustworthy concept or opinion among many that's able to survive testing and criticism. It's designed to structure an answer into a concept, workable pattern, or possible solution. Gate 17 is the pressure to express an opinion, while Gate 62 translates the concept into language that's supported with facts and details presented for examination.
for examination, now that's the textbook classical example of 17 working as it should. But much like 18, 17 must be careful to not become too opinionated, is the thing, because it's a concept out of the mind, and mind always thinks it's in charge anyways. So that's, that's just something to be wary of. If you have a gate 17 in your body graph, is to self-assess. Is it too opinionated? Is it pointed at another? Or is it thrown into the collective for exactly what it says to survive testing and criticism? The fear of 17 is the fear of being criticized. That's its fear, because there's fear in the ajna and there's fear in the spleen. Two fear gates, by the way. 18's afraid of challenge, and 17's afraid of challenge, criticism as a challenge. They both get uppity about that, but the truth of the matter is, the great concepts that come out of here, all the gates along the bottom of the ajna go through, and the only spot in the body graph truly that's this metamorphic process as it relates to manifestation. So because the ajna is forming the words, it must metamorphosize the sound, the light, the notions that are in a concept factory in gray area that are not attached to words yet. The concepts aren't words yet. The metamorphosis takes place right underneath. So there's so much going on here that for an opinion to get out, like a whole ton has to happen. 62 ends up saying, I have the details for you to be able to speak this. And 17 is looking down the line to go through 16, 48, and 18. And 18 is looking up the line, receiving the pressure from 58. So going, technically receiving the pressure from 9 and 52, going all the way up through a bunch of motorized action through 18, up 48, 16, and then to 17. These two are looking at each other, in other words. They're like trying to complete a circuit, essentially, far away, trying to fill in the gaps on either side. And they're trying to create patterns that are solutions for any logical issue going on in humanity whatsoever that needs details, that needs to have logical patterns, that needs to see what might be challengeable in the theory, challenge the hypotheses, issue new hypotheses, roll with it until it's logically tested and sound. That's what this thing's trying to do. Think of all the cool stuff, that process within human, it's all according to taste. That's the name of the game in this stream of awareness, at least all the way up through 18, is the stream of taste. That's what it's called. Awareness in our own judgment, according to our own taste, as our own nine-centered human beings. Think of what that brings. That brings cool roads. That brings this laptop. That brings, hey, let's get the football game organized and let's get everyone there. That brings this beautiful thing that happened this last Sunday with the giant revival ishness that was taking place with the funeral processions of
the Charlie Kirk Memorial.
Charlie Kirk. Thank you. And all of that, it brings that. It's logical to pull all those people together. Guess what? A lot of planning. There were a lot of 18 saying, no, that's no good. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot of 17 saying, no, I think it goes this way. No, I think it goes that way. No, I think, with every last little detail to make that come together and to make everything else come together. Just go back to when I was young, we threw cake parties. Okay. I don't know if that's politically okay to say, but big deal. This made it all happen. We had it all, and then we had fun, and then we got to live out the experiential side and blah, 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 blah. And we were 16, for God's sake. So we are supposed to do that anyways. Back to, it's not my fault. I am joking.
Oh my
So
God.
that's what it does, Moni. I get really animated when I put them together. The reason I was saying my favorite at the beginning is because sometimes it's hard, because the people that own these gates and have them, they know not what they are, and they can get opinionated. The rest of the time, it's a beautiful thing. We solve and make solutions for the cool. Dude, you can't get anything done if you can't make a solution to make it happen. You need a logical process to have any kind of fun anywhere. The only time you don't need the logical process is when you're in the midst of actually having the fun. You can let the logical process sit aside for a little while, but it's still got to be running in the background, or you don't get to have any fun. So that's so hopefully 17 and 18 after this show become everyone's favorite in a way, because it gets a bad rap sometimes, about being just too opinionated and bitchy about this, or just, dissatisfied in a way. That's not what my hope for all of this is, because its real deal is service, and service makes us so we have platforms to have fun and to be alive and to fall in love and to every last other thing.
You already referenced it, but my little trick and my favorite little trick for gate 17 is to offer your opinions as hypotheses and use
Yes.
the language of a hypothesis. Danny referenced it. It's with my boyfriend. He has the 17, but not the 62, but he has the 4323. So that channel speaks with the voice of I know. So I've noticed that oftentimes his gate 17 like hypotheses and possibilities come out within the 4323 is like I know. So he started playing with presenting I hypothesize when he has some opinion come up, and it's like, oh, you sound so fancy and so classy, and it really opens it
It
up.
softens the thing in such a way that it makes it easier to listen.
Yeah, exactly. Because when he'd be like, I know, and I was like, you don't know that. Like, that's a possibility of a thing. And I'm super down to test that hypothesis, but he would come off very, I know about it. And as soon as he shifted into offering hypotheses, it's like, he got like more attractive to me. It just sounded classier. It was easier
Yeah, and
to
not to
take in.
mention,
Yeah.
yeah, when you say I hypothesize, now you are the 1762. Hopefully, if you have the 62, even better, because now you are it. To say I hypothesize is the name of the channel of acceptance. The acceptance is I don't know. I
Mm-mm.
hypothesize. We may come to know, but that's the acceptance. That's why
Oh.
the rule, the ancient law, those who wish to rule must first serve. It's in the service that you come to know. When you finally know, you can rule. That's what's happening here, because we want to concretize, I think, into I know. And don't forget, again, I'll say it again, all the other circuitry serves the individual knowing and centering circuit, mostly individual knowing. It's in service of that, trying to get I know to have a solid I know, not I think or I believe, which the other two gates say. That's the acceptance, that it doesn't necessarily know. It must serve, and then it does finally come to know. And it's the acceptance of 17 has to accept 62's details. 62's details doesn't know anything till it accepts 17's opinion. That exact same process happens so uniquely in this particular channel that the name makes sense.
First up, we have the right angle cross of service, which adds the 52 and 58 to the 18 and 17 we've been discussing. These are people who are part of the ongoing process of correcting and perfecting the archetypes of male, female, father, mother, opinions, and corrections in service to humanity by working to make what is good better. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of correction, which adds the 39 and the 38 to the 18 and 17. Masters in recognizing flaws in the pattern or incompetence in everything except themselves. The ability to turn country girls into princesses. And then finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of upheaval, which also adds the 39 and the 38. People with a heretical view or beguiling innocence, always ready to provoke, to disturb, or to challenge what isn't working. Therapists who know what therapy has to be practical to work.
Upheaval. I had a good friend on upheaval. They started out with they don't like it. and then after a while, they saw why they should like it. Starting with service, people who are part of this ongoing process of correcting and perfecting the archetypes of not just male, female, mother, father, but the archetypes of works and doesn't work, the archetypes of the right architect, the archetypes, the architect who architecturalizes the thing that's going to work. This whole coming together as it takes the energy of 52 and 58, which two root gates pouring out a lot of adrenalized energy, it is able to move through the process. These are people who move through the process of helping to correct and perfect the forms and the solutions. Because here in duality, we're technically in the quarter of creating forms, not just civilization that creates forms. We create the forms that civilization houses here. And so initiation on one side, got to get it going. Over here, the creation of the form and must protect it. The tribal law is here. We're about to talk to it in a few more weeks. And it guarantees that there's a process in place. It really speaks to, it's almost as if it's in service to the tribe first in reality, because this thing speaks to the need to make things work for not just mother father tribal concept, more so than collective mother father schmother. The collective doesn't care necessarily. If mother father made no sense to the collective for a moment, they would just as soon throw it in the trash. Collective is not personal, tribe is. And all of this stuff seems so much more in service to the tribe first, in service to your neighbor. Your neighbor's part of your tribe, in service to the community that you're in first. That community is extended tribe or tribe itself. So I love this archetype that comes as right angle cross because it's absorbed its own self. People want its karma. People don't, the right angles create the karma. And everyone else would like the archetypes of the 16 right angles that there are total to come to the fore and give us your karma. Give us this movement that creates, that is rooted in joy. Everything works. Oh, thank God. Everything works. Oh, thank dear God. It's sheer joy. When I made it work, it's joy. The kid that makes it work. The first time I figured out that the pencil sharpener sharpens the pencil like to a fine, fine tip if I do it just right and go slow, and it was sheer joy. 5-10 minutes I spent, I'll never forget it. And it was like, and I kept blowing it and doing it a little more to see if it got any sharper. It was joy. And when it got sharp, that was the end of the road. Now that's perfect service. Someone had to sharpen the pencils. When I was growing up, someone each week had to take 10 pencils or something, sharpen them, and throw them in the little bin. So everyone always had a pencil to go to. And
Yeah,
I
the little
usually
hand crank.
volunteered for it. Yeah, I volunteered. I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah, that's funny. Yep. So moving on. So this thing can't wait for that. That really happened. I love it. I love me.
Oh yeah.
I love
Oh
me.
yeah, there's
So
another one.
yep, there's more. So then the movement of this moves so clearly into correction. Correction can be an intense place. The name says it. It's moving into the struggle of it all. The next cross up becomes tension. That's the next right angle cross. That's emitting. Think about it. Service emits its karma into the world. And then we go through some stuff and some upheaval, and then we get into the next cross, tension. So from service to tension. It's as if the cross of tension is sort of referring back, saying, "Hey, in case you didn't notice, let me forecast a little bit of what the service can bring a certain amount of tension at the end of the day, because we're fixing things. Not everyone wants things fixed,
Well,
right?
it's like if you fix something, that means that something was broken, and now you
Right.
have to deal with whatever situation of brokenness that you're trying to come in to fix.
I don't want to deal with the mold behind the wall. It's behind the wall. What do I don't see it. That type of thing. I don't want to fix it, that type of thing. And so correction can be very correcty. So just know that about yourself. That's an archetype you fulfill. And the things that you end up correcting, if you're on this cross, become wicked important things. And if they're not, you're sad. You'll see. And so stop trying to correct them. If you're on this cross, please bring yourself in for a reading so I can help you be okay with all of that. and then upheaval. When you get into upheaval, correction brings the upheaval. This thing reads like a perfect sentence. The service through the correction into the upheaval. And the thing is, the upheaval gets rid of the dead wood. It gets rid of the dead wood, and we need that getting got rid of. And the truth of the matter is, the next cross we move into has one of the most important tribal gates in it. The cross of tension has 48 and 21 in it. So that's what's so we must be moving to 48. 48 must be the next gate in line of the spleen gates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, it is. That's right. It is. Okay, cool. So that has gate 21 in its cross, and that's a tribal gate. So this whole thing goes to serve essentially the patterns in the upheaval that then help make a normal existence, because tension actually brings normality. Tension brings the normality. That's what it's after. It's not there to be tense. Hey, Louie, why are you always so tense? Ruining everything. Come to dinner, it's like you're so tense. No, that's not what it is. It brings an ebb and flow of what's coming up when we get into the next cross. And all of this is in service to that. We're in duality. We got to fix the family. The family must be left right through all of this. By the time we get to 44, we must have come to meet. I'm good with these crosses.
Great. Next up, we have our hexagrams. We have the sun in gate 18, which is correction. And in my I Ching book, it reads as corruption.
Say it again. Say
I know.
slowly.
Corruption, like to corrupt, Corruption.
I love it. It echoes gate 50. It echoes something in line 4, gate 50, which is an important line in gate 50.
Oh.
Yeah.
The trigrams are mountain over wind. The image reads, below the mountain is the wind, corruption. A noble one rouses the people to nurture character. The mountain traps and limits the movement of the wind, making for stale, unhealthy air, an invisible corruption, poisoning from within. But a noble one transforms this picture. He stirs people up like the wind and nurtures their character like a sheltering mountain. This can work among people or within an individual. Inner movement and awakening transform limitation into a protective covering for growth.
That's sort of intense. That's an intense correlation if that was original I Ching language, because that really is a close correlation to what goes on in gate 50, line 4. I mean, truly, it brings, and 50 starts up the whole process of spleen. Spleen begins at gate 50, just like solar plex begins at gate 6, and they're all part of the tribal defense circuit. So it's just they're using tribal defense language, and all of this is what's sort of throwing me a little bit. It's really interesting that somehow or other the air that is stagnant is somehow swept away through the act of correction.
Yeah, I love this line. The stale, unhealthy air, an invisible corruption poisoning from within. But a noble one transforms this picture. He stirs people up like the wind and nurtures their character like a sheltering mountain. And I just imagine, like, I don't know if you remember, like, Secret Garden. You remember the Secret Garden? That's like one of the best movies. It was like the 1994 Secret Garden, and it's like with the little orphan girl from India.
Oh,
She's
I
like a
think I
British.
did. Yeah, I think I
Yeah, and
did
she's
see
like
this
the
once.
parents die in an earthquake, and then she's like sent to her uncle's manor in England, and it's like
Totally.
a
Yeah.
old castle. And she finds the secret garden, but then her like cousin is like sickly in a way, and he thinks he's dying, and he has a hump on his back, and so he's like locked away in this room, and like the windows are closed because there's spores, and he's gonna get sick, and like they're over coddling this little boy, and there's this day where she finally like bursts into his room and like throws open the windows, and she's like, "You're not sick, you're not sick," and like shakes out the covers and makes him like be alive. Like that's what that reminded me of.
That's what it should remind you of. That's actually a really good image. That's a gate 18 thing to do, because it is in service, and it can't stand the lack of that joy. That pattern does not float. Nope. Nope. I'm correcting that pattern. The pattern that you were just describing what they did to the yep.
Yeah, and like
So
shake it out, bring in the fresh air. It's like when you walk into a stale room and you're like, "Ugh, gross." Like open the window, turn the fans on, shake out the bed sheets. Like
the name is appropriate. The thing is, it's one step removed, because the real corruption is truly what got the kid there in the first place.
Hmm.
That was the real corruption of the body in that moment in the vessel. And we're in spleen gates now, so it's all about the body's health and immune system and what keeps it alive, literally. So the correction comes in and corrupts that. It corrupts the corruption. That's what corruption means. It means to corrupt the corruption itself. Ra always gave the example of, there's a law and it's your third strike and you got to go to jail for 20 years or something like that. But the first two strikes were for having a little bit of like, and the third strike was just specks of. We can't take up 20 years of jail for these particular three strikes, but they equaled strikes until some judge comes along and corrupts that. It's corruption and says, no, I got to do something, but it ain't 20. Probation. Here you go. Get out. You come back. You almost went to jail for 20 years. Just remember that kid. And that kid will straighten up enough, or else he'll be in trouble. But, yep.
Yeah, that idea of identifying the corruption to like clear it out to stir up the wind. I love that imagery.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Earth in gate 17, which is opinions. In my I Ching book, it reads as following. The trigrams are lake over thunder. The image reads, at the center of the lake is thunder, following. A noble one at nightfall goes inside for renewal and rest. In the spring, the dragon flies out over the fields and brings rain, but over winter he sleeps at the bottom of the lake. As the dragon and the noble one know, energy is stored up below the level of conscious activity. And so to connect with it, you need to go inside and sleep. Instead of obsessively pursuing your desires, stop and rest in accordance with the season.
I don't know what to make of that one. Yeah. I don't have an opinion on the matter. What do you make of it?
Okay, let's break it down. Yeah, it's an interesting
Break it
one.
down so I can think of something to say, because I was trying to latch on to various keynotes that were in there. And
There's a lot going on. There's
yep.
dragon, lake. At the center of the lake is thunder, following. A noble one at nightfall goes inside for renewal and rest. So, I mean, there's like obviously a parallel with the 18 of like correction, of like, hey, you're tired, go for renewal and rest.
It's a
And
lot of work developing these opinions, and you must rest in between, or else they will become strained and not easy.
yeah, and the idea that in the spring the dragon flies out over the fields and brings the rain, but over the winter he sleeps at the bottom of the lake. So, and energy is stored up below the level of conscious activity. And so to connect with it, you need to go inside and sleep. It's almost like there's like an on and off. Like there's a time and a place for every season. There's a time to share your opinions. There's a time not to share your opinions. Instead of
The time and place, the time
yeah,
and place, the time and place. That's the connection, because all of this was, and we already know, just for the channel of judgment all by itself, just because you think it doesn't mean you have to say it, because it comes across as correcting. It comes across as potentially forcefully bitching at somebody a little bit, like, and that's
there's a
not what they mean.
pokiness.
It's a pokiness, and
It's,
that's
a,
not
it's, a,
what they
it's
mean.
an uninvited projector pokiness.
Right, and it's not necessarily what they mean by it, but it does come out that way. And people have asked me many times, and it's like, just because, same thing with the 1762, just 17 must surrender to the details in 62. It's the preponderance of the detail, and 62 preponderance of the small. And so it ends up being 17 has to surrender to the details. The details might not support what 17's toy box can come up with. It can come up with anything. There's no rules, except that it's got to end up logical, intelligent, and part of a solution that we can identify. And that identification I can share with the other. And this is saying everything has its season, everything has its time. Because I can't always share. We can't share until the other is receptive.
Yeah, you're not supposed to plant stuff in the dead of winter when you have to wait till spring for it to
Yeah,
properly
the dead
grow.
of winter, the other is not receptive. Right.
Oh, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
that's what I'm comparing it to.
Yeah. No, it was good though. Like you just caught me in a good way.
Nice. All right, good. I lucked out through that one. I latched onto something smart to say, but it made sense finally.
Well, it's fun to go through it together. It's
Mhm.
fun because sometimes like you jump right on it, it makes sense, and there's other times you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm like,
I don't know,
let's
with
break
the
it
dead
down
of winter under the surface,
with a dragon.
mountains, the thunder in the middle of the lake. Okay. Yeah.
uh, ooh, so
Woohoo.
ooh. tying it all together for our audience for this week with the sun in gate 18 and the earth in gate 17. How can they expect this, play with this? What should they do with it?
Well, this is a time where the opinions are going to come out and the correction is supposed to be made. If you're not part of the correcting process, sit back and watch. Don't suddenly partake. You weren't invited. Yeah. I mean, or experiment. Partake when you're not invited and see what happens. FAFO, right? A little bit. And that's okay. It's not like, I mean, don't risk it with something that's like a big deal, but smaller things, whatever. So just recognize that you yourself in your own little internal way, most of you are right angle anyways, just by numbers, sheer numbers, and the rest, and we're creating karma for the rest. So just go inward with this first, because it's special time. You know what? That gate 17 language now is wicked appropriate. There is a season and a timing to when you are supposed to every last thing. And so most of the every last thing that you're supposed to do very often is not say it.
Well, that's a good
Well, it just doesn't matter to the other yet. And so your own inner assessment, for the joy of your own inner assessment's sake, if its timing is correct to be shared, it will be. And otherwise, you can watch how others get a little crazy with trying to correct things that's not theirs to correct. So please notice that too. Notice the tension in the news, approaching tension between this week and next week. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I just thought to say that. So we are
That
going
makes a
through
lot of sense.
upheaval. Yeah, people and their opinions, man. This week we got some opinions coming. What date did that fall on? Did it start?
September 26th through
Right,
October
it's
1st.
coming right up. It's coming up. We're
Yeah.
still in the vessel and we're still in healing, or what if it's not healing, it's the other one, prevention. And I think we're in prevention, the prevention side of the vessel. And so time to move on, baby. We're gonna see some opinionated stuff. Watch the news cycle, see what happens, watch the various things, and let's see if we can't get that actual pattern to be sort of what they were preaching of the unity after that assassination. I saw a lot of good unity show up as it relates to just generalized not willing to riot, unity, love,
Yeah.
peace,
Prayer,
and prayer,
crying,
vigil.
hugging.
Yes, yes, that's the communion, that's the beauty, and maybe we'll finally spot some of that. Sit back and watch, though. Watch that news cycle next 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the earth in gate 17, this like opinions and hypotheses, it's like being grounded in, and again, using that word hypotheses over opinions, because opinions, they're like another part of your body. Everyone has one, ha ha ha.
Right.
And like Danny said, like it's not always the time to share them. And so maybe just noticing hypothesis. I hypothesize this and I hypothesize that, and leave it open, and don't, it takes off the pressure of yourself too. You're like, I don't know, it's a maybe thing. We can test it. Let's find out and see, as opposed to like, I know this thing and it's my hard opinion and now I got to fight for it. So if you bring
Right.
it down to that like hypothesis thing, I think you could be really interested in grounded in like, what are some things that ultimately may need to be corrected? So if we can ground ourselves in these hypotheses and bring in the perspectives of like, how can I take better care of my body? Maybe I should walk more. Maybe I should drink more water and eat less sugar, something like that. And then using that correction in the sun from this place of joy and vitality. And again, creating something good. It's not about being a jerk and judging yourself or others in like an unkind way, but coming from this place of creating more vitality. And like Danny said, it might not be the time to share with everybody. These are both projected gates and projected channels. So maybe just collect those yourself and see what you can correct in your own life. Honestly, it's like make your bed,
Right.
take better
Right.
care of yourself, do your laundry, clean your room, whatever it is, and see where you can correct in your own life to create more vitality where and when that's appropriate for you and maybe in your relationships.
It's a beautiful time. Whatever you think you've been successfully hiding from yourself, the roving eye is about to enter and tell you what for about all of that. I would suggest you let it happen. Whether you do anything about it or not's irrelevant. Seeing is the first step to correcting. So wish yourself to see it.
Perfect. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Danny. Thank you to everyone who is watching and liking and commenting, subscribing, hanging out with us. It's really awesome having you here with us. It's really exciting as we grow. And we will catch you next week for another transit.
Much love, everyone. Thank you very much.